Alright, Treasury Financial Manual, Volume 1, Part 3, Chapter 400. Agency use the credit reports of the reporting federal non-tax debt of the credit of the Bureau of the Treasury Financial Manual of the chapter that provide with the federal agency with the obtaining the credit reports reporting information for the current with the delinquent debts of the credit bureaus. Section 4010, scope of the applicability of the provision of the Treasury Financial Manual chapter apply with the federal agency for the report current with the delinquent debt of the credit bureau pursuant to Title 31 U.S. State Code 3711 and E.N. Office of Management Budget Circular A29 govern the reporting federal agents current with the delinquent debts of the credit bureaus address certain issues associated with the federal agency for the using the credit reports and suspend all revisions of the guide to the Federal Credit Bureau program. Nothing in the Treasury Financial Manual of the chapter intended to suggest the United States federal agency subject to the obligation for the Fair Credit Reporting Act, Title 15 U.S. Standard Code 1681 and 10 sequence, or Federal Credit Reporting Act that is applicable to the reporting federal agency to credit bureau for the sovereign immunity that has been waived with respect to the Federal Credit Reporting Act provisions. Agents for the person and else should be accountable. They are accountable for the guns for whether they are how to comply with the Federal Credit Reporting Act. Section 4 to 15. 4015 Authority. The Department of Treasury of the Bureau of the Five Official Services as authorized to propagate with relations of the established government of the federal agency for the performance of the debt collection act, include the use of the credit report, the reporting current with the delinquent debt for the credit reports, Public Law 101, 134, Statute 3100, 1 M1, 3101, AA1, 110, Statute 1321 through 358, 1996, codified in Title 31 U.S. State Code 3711, the G10 with the 3711 note, and respectively Title 31 CFR 9014. There are several authorities relevant to federal agencies with credit reports reporting information current with the link with the Credit Bureau of Title 5 U.S. Standard Code 552 AB 12 of the law with the federal agency to disclose the information in the system records with the Credit Bureau with according to Title 31 U.S. Standard Code 3711E with the Title 31 U.S. Standard Code 3711E1 record with the federal agency to report the delinquent debts to the consumer the reporting agency. Title 31 U.S. Standard Code 3711E with the authorized federal agency to report with the current debt for the consumer the commercial reporting agency. Title 31 U.S. Standard Code 3711H authorized federal agency to obtain with the consumer report comparable to credit information collected with the compromise to terminate collection actions for the element of debt. Title 31 U.S. Standard Code 3720B would generally prohibit the federal agency granting loan with the loan guarantee of loan insurance for the person that owes them more and more delinquent debts. Office of Management Budget Circular A129 requires federal agencies to report with the current delinquent commercial debts for the Credit Bureau. Section 4020 terms of definition following terms of definition for the purpose of the Treasury Financial Management chapter of commercial debt with the arising of business activity debtor. Section 4030 consumer debt with the debt arising personal activity debtor with the Section 4030 consumer the reporting agency the type of the Credit Bureau which has the same definition set forth in Title 31 U.S. Standard Code 3701A3 Credit Reporting Agency Bureau or Credit Bureau. Consumer Commercial Credit Reporting Agency that is signed with the agreement of the federal agency to receive it to integrate with the credit information voluntary subscribe with the other federal agencies, the private security entity in respect of the database and general federal agencies of the nationwide credit reporting agencies. Oscar web-based Metro 2 with the compliant with the automated system to enable the data function include with the federal agency credit reporting agency to create with the respond with the consumer credit reporting dispute. Both terms defined with the purpose of the chapter with additional terms related with the chapter for the Treasury Financial Manual Glossary. Section 4025 background reporting current commercial with the delinquent with the consumer with the commercial debt with the Credit Reporting Act. The agency does not use only with the wide law but the promote with the effective federal financial management reporting debt for the otherwise agencies have more complete with the picture personal credit worthiness. Additionally, reporting current debt with information helps to remain with a timely bill with the United States to reap the benefits applied with the credit history. With some exemption, with the federal agency must refrain with the grant loan with the providing loan interest with the loan guarantee with any of the debt linked with the United States, regardless of whether the unsolved obligation of the consumer and the commercial debt. See Title 31 U.S. Standard Code 3720B with Title 31 28513 reporting delinquent debts for the assist of the agency in compliance with the borrower with the providing federal financial assistance for the delinquent debtors. Section 4330 for the general. 403010 of the consumer the commercial debt to individual versus entity with a certain distinction for the ground of the reporting of debt for the depending with the nature for the debt with the consumer the commercial for the nature for the entity with the individual or any distinction between the consumer the debt with the commercial debt for the referred to for the type of the debt and the debtor for the individual some of the consumer that can owe the consumer the commercial debt with any of the debt the consumer and the commercial can inform the individual credit worthiness for the purpose of the activity not with the type of the entity involved the term of the agency should classify with the debt of the consumer and the commercial term commercial debt identifies of the debt arose of the business activity. The term consumer debt implies the debt arose of the personal activity. Relevant laws reporting debts are owed individually, regardless of whether the consumer of the commercial to consumer the reporting agent. The relevant law requires for the reporting commercial debt for the credit bureaus. See Office of Management Budget Circular A-129. With the consumer debts of the owned individual agency should comply with the Section 4035 of the commercial debts owned with the non-individual agency should comply with the Section 4040. The commercial debts owned with the individual agency should comply with both Section 4035 and 4040 of the agency believe they own with the consumer debts by the non-individual shall consult with the counsel regarding the reporting requirements. Section 403020 written agreement of the agency shall sign a written agreement with credit reporting agencies before reporting any current delinquent debt information in such credit report agencies. 40-30-30 dollar threshold of debt reporting the no minimum dollar threshold amount of the debt subject to reporting. 40-30-40 with the credit bureau reporting multiple agents same debt. Federal agents generally may transfer the debt more than 180 days delinquent of the treasury designated debt collection center of the collection when the debt has been served by more than one agency. The agency must keep the ensure that they do not cause inappropriate duplicative reports of the credit bureau for the same debt. Section 4035 of the reporting consumer the commercial debt owned for the individual consumer reporting agencies. 403510 reporting site current debt. The reporting off the management budget A-129 federal agency generally may report with the current consumer credit credits of the bureau encouraged to do so. With the 403520 reporting delinquent debts pursuant to Title 31 U.S. Stand Code 3711E, the federal agency must report information of delinquent debts owned with the individual consumer reporting agency before reporting delinquent to the consumer reporting agent. Federal agency may ensure the information reported does contain the system record of the notice of the permanent disclosure of the consumer reporting agent in accordance with the Privacy Act. See Title 31 U.S. Code 3711E1A. The review of the debt report of the debt side of the debt is valid and overdue. See Title 31 U.S. Code 3711E1B. Note the debtor in writing in the debt of the overdue to the note that 60 days over the sending of the notice of the agency will disclose the debt with the credit reporting agency. 3. The specific information disclosed in the credit bureau or the debt receiver rights of the debtor's right with complete with the explanation from the debtor's dispute with the information records of the debt and administrative repeal or review of the debt. Title 31 U.S. Code 3711E1C with the due process with the authorship of the outline action of the debtor to prevent the agency from reporting debt with delinquency with the credit bureau by making payment in full and entering the compromise agreement with the prior to the expiration 60 days prior to the date of the process due. Term of the debtor has not one entity unbriefed the written payment over the entity filed with a review of the reconsideration of the debt. Establish procedures to 1. Disclosure of the consumer of the report agency substantial change of the condition amount of the debt. 2. Therefore, the correct promptly information under the debt with upon request of the commissioner of the report of the agency verification. 3. With the obtaining satisfactory assurance of each of the consumer of the reporting agency, the federal agency has written agreement with complying with the federal laws related to provide consumer credit information. Provide the debtor with a review of the debt upon request, including after the reconsideration initial decision. Take responsible action. Locate the debtor if the agency does not have the current address. Comply with the requirements of any of the contract law or regulation apply with a particular debtor. Particular debt. 40-35-30 frequency of the debt reporting updates. Agency should report debts with the consumer of the reporting agency monthly. Agency may update the debts information more frequently to maintain integrity and accuracy of the information report. The agency may make up the debt update with ensure the internal records update with the avoid reporting incorrect information. 40-35-40 method of format with the reporting debt with the consumer of the reporting agency. Agency should report with the debtor for the account with the information for the credit bureau of the Nontax group of the base. For the agency should report with the debt with the information for the credit bureau of the exchange electronics through the Metro 2 for the format or Oscar with another mutually agreed upon method for the credit with the reporting industry for the Metro 2 format with the reporting all consumer the debt information. Electronic copy of the Metro format is available to the consumer the data industry association the building Metro 2 format subject to the periodic update of the agency shall ensure that their appropriate procedure for the obtaining update for the reporting standard as well perceived incorporating the update for the process for the credit bureau reporting. To maintain accurate federal debtor data the agency shall develop the file with the procedures of the reporting information Metro 2 format with the procedure for the consist of the following guidance. Agency should report each debt separately with a group no group together with the debts for the own with a single debtor regardless of the amount of the activity debt borrowed. For the account number of the field, agency should report the alphanumeric code that identifies the individual loan with the loan guarantee of the debt with another account and the accounting number number that generally should not be based on the taxpayer identification number. However, if the agency tax number identification number is an account number, the tax identification number may only be with the agency with the issue between the different debit type of the codes that may have the extent of the debit for the borrower. For example, that any agent with additional character for the code with much of the distinction for reporting issue, the agency should be reissued with the reissue with the numbers of the consumer debt that has been closed and paid in full. Within Title 31 U.S. Code 7701C, with the require the agency to obtain the Social Security number, the name of the person who dealt with the business with delinquent debts should be reported with the agency that upon unable to provide a Social Security number as long as the credit bureau agrees to accept the account without it. If the Social Security number is not available, the agency should put the zero of the field of reporting the format submitting the debt with the credit bureau. The agency shall be reported with the capitalized with the other capitalized expense of the debit that be given them revised interest. For example, the $1,000 interest capitalized with the $50,000 debt. The entity should be reported as $51,000 single account. Alright, 40, 35, 50, with the handling dispute before disclosing the information for the credit bureau, the agency provide with the debt with the opportunity to review the agency's initial decision over the claim, and in some of the insurance and circumstance, the agency must also require to provide with the debit with the proper reporting opportunity to review the agency's initial decision. Under Title 31 U.S. Code 3711E, the debtors may distribute the dispute with inaccurate information consumed with the credit bureau to have the right to review the records for Tim and the debt. Although Title 31 U.S. Code 3711E does not require the federal agency to rise for the debt with the space frame, but it does not require the federal agency to verify the correct information from the debt upon the request of the consumer report agent for the verification credit reporting agent to have the obligation to investigate the dispute with the Federal Credit Report Act of the arrive at independent Title 31 U.S. Code 3711E with the credit reporting agency may delete information investigate is not complete and within 30 days for the day of the credit report agency receive the dispute with the individual debt of the writing agency should seek with the principal investigation man with all of the allow to verify the correct dispute of the information in 30 days to prevent the credit bureau from deleting disputed information. Typically, credit reporting agencies provide the notice for the dispute with the agency within 5 days upload with the dispute of the information. Oscar federal agency reviewed and will notify the entity with the dispute with the other mutual agreed upon methods. Alright, 40, 35, 60, proceed with the chain with the term for the current with the delinquent with the subsequent with the describe with the proceed with the agency the with the staff with the debt with the chain with the current with the delinquent with the if the agency they have been reporting with the debt with the consumer with the non-delinquent with the aim of the debt with the person become with the delinquent the agency should continue reporting information about the debt minimum 60 days when satisfied with the debt due process with the requirement described in subsection 40, 35, 20. If the debtor asks for the review of the file with the dispute with the debt with the agency should refrain from reporting information about the debt until the entity comply with the reviews and applies or appeals. The debtor paid for the debt in full, enter for the repayment agreement within 60 days due period, process period. Agency should report with the account status for update with the after 60 day due process period with the after all of the agency reviews and appeal with the complete with the account remain with the delinquent. The agency should report with the delinquent account with the credit reporting agency. Presumably, this will be the third month delinquency when you go due to this agency. The chain with the debt and that payments history with the profile show with the initial two delinquents with the as well 30 to 60 delinquent. The alternately agency could leave with the first 2 months blank. Unreported update with the account with 90 days delinquent with the date of the first report. During the subsequent reporting period, the agency should update with the debtor's account status as applicable. 40, 35, 70 termination collection action limitation period. Once the agency terminates collection regarding the debt, it should update with the relevant credit bureaus on chain with the debt. Say if the agency did not terminate with the collection with the debt with the collection, the agency shall consider whether it should be discontinued in the future with more than 7 years elapsed from the day of the first delinquency. Section 4040, reporting commercial debts owed by an individual or agencies. Requirement of reporting current and delinquent commercial debts. The agency must report accounting information current with the delinquent commercial debt to the credit bureau. If the agency reporting information delinquent debt, it must first comply with the prerequisites set forth in 403520. 404020, frequency commercial debt reporting update with the agency shall report with the commercial account with the information quarterly based. The agency should be up to date with the debt information more frequently maintained with integrity accuracy information reported. If the agency makes an update, it shall for the internal record of the update of the reporting of the incorrect information. 40-40-30 method of the format reporting commercial debts. Agency shall report commercial debts and information credit bureau of the non-exclusive of the business. The CDIA developed the Metro 2 of the format described in section 40-35-40. Only reporting consumer debt information for the credit bureau of the other in the agency of the use of the attempt of the Metro 2 of the format as commercial debts. Credit reporting agency may require the use of another format. For example, the official of the reports commercial debt information credit bureau of the commercial small business financial exchange format. Exchange furnished the exchange agency that shall furnish the account of the information electronically through Oscars and other mutually agreed upon method. In addition, the debt with the agency shall develop file procedures regarding the report of the debt with the information commercial credit bureaus. Some procedures shall be consistent with the following guidelines. The agency shall be report the debt separately with not to group together debts of the own single debtor of the borrower with regards to the amount of the activity debt of the borrower. For the account number of the field of the agency, with the shall report with the unique alphanumeric code for the identifies each for the individual loan guaranteed debt with an account number that generally shall not be paid within the taxpayer identification number. However, the agency uses the taxpayer identification number, account number. Taxpayer identification number may be used by the agency with the account status distinguish between the different debts and the other type of the credit that have been extended with the debt with the borrower. For example, the agency added additional character with the code to make such a distinction. To avoid reporting issue, the entity should not reuse or reissue the accounting number of the commercial debt has been closed or paid off in full. Eventually, even though the Title 31 standard U.S. Code 7701C was required of the agency to obtain the tax identification number, any of the person who does business with delinquent debts of the reported, if the agency unable to provide the tax and player identification, as long as the credit bureau agree with accept the account without it, agency should report a capital investment and other capital expense given for the interest expense. For example, $1,000 interest for capitalized $50,000 debt, but the entity should report the $51,000 single account. All right, now 4040, handling information commercial debtor files. Federal agency shall have the procedure to address the disposal of the information. Agency shall investigate, resolve the dispute regarding access to the information credit report in a timely manner. Termination of the candidate's collection action. Once an agency terminates for the collection action regarding the debt, it should be updated to all relevant credit bureaus on change of the debit status. Section 4045. Obtaining credit reports off the management budget. Circular A-129 require the agency to purchase the credit report for the screen loan application for the appropriate federal agency. They should obtain with the credit report for the loan application both commercial and consumer credit reporting of the agency to extend with the credit with granting other form of the federal financial assistance. Additional Title 31 U.S. Code 3711H is roughly authorized federal agency to obtain with the credit reports comparable to credit information to collect with the compromise to terminate the collection action of any debt owed by the United States. The agency should also purchase the credit reports to file with the vendor debt to collect financial ability to pay the debt with a lump sum thrive to enter the installment agreement to assess the debtor's financial position with the answer of the web of the compromise of the debt with the evaluate the potential suspension, termination of the debt collection activity, comply with the requirement of the Department of Justice claims of the collection litigation report with the agency, provide the debtor's credit report for receiving the debt for the enforcement litigation. The credit bureau may also require the agency written agreement to obtain the credit report. Such agreement may be required by the agency certified with the permissible purpose of the Federal Credit Report Act, seeking the report with another permissible purpose of the federal agency over the debt, but generally rely on Title 31 U.S. Code 3711H, which allow the agency to obtain credit reports comparable to the information collected with the compromise to terminate collection action with the debt owed with the United States. Debt owed to the United States, but the cost purchasing of the credit report should be generally considered the administrative cost. Title 31 U.S. Code 3717E1, one of the agency, even the report collection activity, the debt collection becomes delinquent. The contacts for the Department of Treasury, the Bureau, the official of the debt for the management service. And that was Chapter 4000, Agency with the Credit Reports, Federal Non-Tax Debt with the Credit Union Bureaus, Part 3 of Volume 1.